Good evening, everybody. This is post HYROX Dallas November 21st, 2025. So with me and Tyler, we was partners in the first HYROX we did. Now, keep in mind we're not runners, so we're going to tell you our experience from a non-runner's perspective. So I'm gonna start off with it first, and then Tyler gonna give his opinion as well. So as far as the competition itself, very excited up until the competition. The day of the competition, a little bit nervous, but as far as like the whole ambiance and the whole feeling, I think that HYROX could have been a little bit more organized with, especially for us, first time people. We didn't feel, other than the crowd itself, we didn't feel like welcome, how you say, there wasn't a lot of direction, uh, not as organized. But as far as the overall event itself and the people that was there, I would rate that itself an A plus. But definitely room for improvement as far as the hospitality and direction as far as HYROX. We'll get into a little bit more about talking about what we think about the experience, but we just want a quick introduction of what we thought about the beginning of the HYROX and everything. What about yourself, Tyler?
Yeah, I thought the HYROX, the experience was cool, fun. It was fun to see how many people that was out there doing it from different age groups, and it was like wow, like you could see people from like teenagers, people seeing pregnant women doing it, and also the elderly people that was out there. They was out killing it. But like you said, it could have been more organized and more welcoming. Like I say, from organized, like it just like when they get in there, I was like, oh, my engineering brain just clicked on and like, oh, they could have made this better. They could have did this more efficient, or anything like that. And just just being more welcoming when, especially with new beginners, doing something like HYROX. But overall, I'll say it was an A plus. Like I really enjoyed myself. Really enjoyed the crowd. The crowd was live. You heard people out there screaming, even people you didn't even know. They're cheering you on. So that was a plus. I say that.
Okay, good. So we're gonna tell you what our training was like. Uh, I'm 51, so I'm a mobility and a functional trainer. So I am not going to go into a race without addressing any issues that I have. So in our journey to HYROX, I'm not a runner. So when I started running, I realized that I haven't really ran since I was 40. So as far as impingements that I had to work on, I didn't have any shoulders, no hips, no knee issues. What I did have is a lot of Achilles and top of my foot, metatarsal issues from not running for so long, being stagnant. Now, I can say that preparing for myself and my clients, we addressed that. So we didn't leave the event injured. So I know a lot of people competitive nature kicks in. So during our preparation, we really focus on impingement. So everyone has some sort of impingement. Me, myself, was my foot. So I had to really focus on a lot of mobility, soft tissue massage for my toes, for my feet, trying to find the right shoes. As far as it does make a difference between running shoes and the cross training shoes. So the running shoes I got were perfect as far as running a lot. Now, as far as pushing the sled, that was a whole different story. So at the last minute, I ended up having to make a last minute decision with some cross training shoes, but kind of like in between. But moving forward, I'm gonna get something with a little bit more cushion on it because I did still feel the hardness of the ground because we ran on the concrete, but I didn't have the toe issues and Achilles issues. I did say that I did see a lot of people cramping up, whether their calves or their hamstrings. I didn't cramp up until my seventh time, my seventh run, and then I noticed my calves starting to lock up. So, Tyler, what about yourself? Any impingements or any issues?
Well, I know, like he said, I'm not a runner as well. I know before HYROX, I started to try to get into running, training for 5Ks, and I ended up injuring my back, which led to going to different doctors and finding out and working with Baso here that it all led to the root cause of my hips being so tight. And so I just spent a lot of time trying to do mobility stretches, working with different PTs to get myofascial release, sports massages to keep my hips loose. In which, when it came to the competition, I didn't have any problems with my hips, but it led to me not paying attention to other areas, such as my my left hamstring locked up. I caught cramps in my left hamstring, and also my calf muscle, which I caught in the third lap, which it took a toll because I had to slow down on all my runs. As soon as I tried to go out and try to run more, it start locking up, and so it led to us having to walk more than we expected in HYROX. And far as like training, I knew that running was a big thing. I thought that training just for like a 10K, or if you can just go out there and run 5 to 6 miles and nonstop, you'll be okay. Which is, I learned, like, and after talking to a couple of guys that do a HYROX Pro, they said expect to do a little bit more than that. Focus on some compromise running and focus on long runs and zone 2 runs, which is, I took all of that information in, and that's what I'm gonna incorporate in my next training. But I wish I could have incorporated in the, before the November HYROX.
Now, in Tyler's defense too, I know a lot of people, HYROX is pretty new. You know, it's started overseas 2017. It is 2025. Now, keep in mind that no matter what you do, every sport has their pros and cons and negatives and whatnot. But with me being 51, you really have to, and being as a trainer too, you really have to dial in and pay attention to your impingements. Don't fight through your impingements just to finish the race and you have an injury. Now, keep in mind that we didn't finish in the best time, but what it did for me, and I'm gonna talk about Tyler's first. Now, Tyler hip, we did 2 full simulations before. Well, we attempted 2 full simulations before the event. So on both simulations, doing the whole HYROX itself, we stopped about the 4th and 5th run in the obstacle because right after the burpees, his hip was bothering him. So what a lot of people don't understand, that if you don't have alignment with your toes and ankles, it changed the whole dynamics of how your knees and your hips were. So we didn't catch it till like 2 months because, like Tyler said, he was going to different physical therapy, chiropractors. Nope. Even though there's a gang of physical therapists and chiropractors out there, there's not a lot of them trying to get down to the root cause of the problem. Everybody want to sell you packages. I'm not saying that there's not good chiropractors and physical therapists, but he spent thousands and thousands of dollars. I'm not a physical therapist and chiropractor, but I know a little bit about what they do and some of the methods. So long story short, we end up using some inserts, some heel inserts that was able to get him between. He found a great physical therapist to actually release some of that fascia, and with the inserts, he didn't have any hip issues going into and doing the race. So, but like he said, if we would have had that sooner, he might have could have addressed other issues that he had in his body. So there's a lot to learn from it. Neither one of us got injured. So the good thing is we completed it. But what it did for me for the race itself is that, me being 51, me and Tyler both were strong as an ox, but it got me out of my comfort zone because not only my conditioning and my eating, I was taking it for granted. I wasn't I'm strong, you know, I whatever. But HYROX actually opened my eyes. So after doing the event, it really put me into perspective. Like, I'm not in shape as I need to be. You know, in my mind, I thought I was in shape, but no, I completed the race, but I felt like I left a lot because of my conditioning wasn't where it needed to be. So as far as the experience, great experience. It was very humbling for me because I know I need to condition better. Strength thing was there. We didn't get no injuries, but the conditioning. So definitely going to do 2 or 3 more events in 2026, but I'm going to be a lot more intentional with my conditioning and my eating. So as far as the strength training, I'm going to continue to strength train, but I'm not focus so much on the strength as much as the conditioning and the eating. So what about yourself, Tyler?
Same. I plan on in the future to do a couple more high rocks. I especially want to redeem myself after the 2025. I know that small circumstances happening, like getting catching cramps, and with the competitive spirit, I want to reduce that time and get a better time the next go around. So I want to focus on me. I will be focused on more my conditioning and also my eating as well, and also take mobility more serious because there's a lot of different movements that you're doing in high rocks that requires you to be mobile. Like for example, the burpees. You have to, be able to do a burpee. The efficient way is other ways you can do a burpees, but if you're more mobile, you can do it efficient and it keeps your time down. Then the second thing, like you're doing wall balls, that requires you to do a deep squat. With me being 6'5", it's kind of hard to do a deep squat, but the more mobile and the more I know if I work on my mobility and my ankles, my hips, my knees, that's able to help me to get deeper in my squats. And also, like Baso said, I'm gonna continue to do strength training because you want to keep that up. You don't want to fall off on strength training. But I know that I need my conditioning and eating has to be better to be able to compete in a more efficient time next hot rocks.
So for us, we're not a runner, so the running time could improve. But like I said, we had a couple obstacles we had to overcome. That was an eye opener. For me, I thought I could just push through it because I got that old willpower. But I left a lot on the table. Don't pressure yourself. Even though Tyler was going through his hamstrings, I was very supportive of him. I never made him feel negative. Make sure you support your partner when you're there and don't bash on them, whatever, because the tables can turn. It can flip on you, especially because I'm 51. Like, it can easily turn on me. So the what Tyler talked about before, mobility is important. So the 2 areas we struggled the most was the burpee broad jumps and the wall throws. But as far as everything else, we killed it. The times, I mean, we did the farmer's carry. And talking about strength, I know I see a lot of people struggling with the farmer's carry, especially when you get into the heavier weights, like the pro weight and stuff like that, or even just a common. But a lot of people take total body for granted. They either work upper body or they work lower body. My advice is to be well-rounded in everywhere. Focus on working on smaller muscles. The smaller muscles help support the larger muscles. So when you're doing the farmer's carry, if you have strong grip, strong wrist, that will help support your shoulders. You don't know how much you use your wrist and grip, but the weaker this is, the more pressure it puts on your shoulders. So keep that in mind. And like Tyler said, mobility is key. So you got to find balance. So when you're doing strength training, you got to find time to actually rest, find some time to soft tissue massage, stretching, and also that endurance and cardio. So it's not one dimensional. So make sure you find some balance. You still have a life between working and your social life. You have to find balance. And for me, it's important to have that balance because it's so easy to get caught up in work and depression and other things that's going on in the world. So this actually helps me keep focused and not worry about so much of the negativity. So I would say those were the two areas that we struggled in: not the farmer camp, but the burpees, broad jumps, and the wall throw. But our strongest events was everything else. We didn't struggle with the rowing or the skier. And not a skier, even though I know better not to go so fast, I can tell you that skier sets the tone for the rest of the race.
Yeah, I agree.
So if you go on that skier going like I did, if you watch my video, I was going fast. I was like trying to break records. But we broke it up in 250, 250, 250. If I wouldn't have had a chance to catch my breath, because I went first. So my advice as far as doing the HYROX, let the person that has the most cardio go last, and let the person that has the least cardio go first. So that way, if you breaking it up like we did, I went first, Tyler second, I went third, and Tyler finished out the last 400 because it's 1,000 meters. So if I went first, if Tyler would have went second, it gave me an opportunity to catch my breath because I heard Tyler, but when you get caught up in that moment, all those people that's there, the loud music, I was just gunning. So after that, I had to calm down. But none of the obstacles was really a challenge other than the two I mentioned: the skier, the push pulls, um, the rowing. Farmers Care was our best event, so none of those we struggle. It is a running sport. So if I can give you any advice, work on your endurance and eating, and don't just focus on just so much your endurance. And prior to the HYROX, I was doing more conditioning, but my eating wasn't matching with my conditioning. So I lost inches, but I didn't lose weight. So I got to change that up because you really have to able to give it 100%. For me to give it 100%, I need to be a lot leaner. So definitely the second time around, I'm gonna be a lot leaner. You'll be able to see my time. You'll be able to see I'm more agile, and that's it. That's my best advice as far as giving y'all. But if you have any more questions, you can ask. You can leave us a comment, and we'll answer back as soon as we can.
And like Baso said, my key advice is just that mobility and that endurance, and don't fall off on strength training. And I say mobility because, like, for instance, like the lunges, like our lunges were good, but I felt like the mobility would help with the lunges because with me having been tall, your back knee had to touch the ground, and you having to come up and just being able to get down to the ground, that mobility helps, especially with mobility in your hips. And like I know, like I'm preaching mobility because that will help with the burpees as well, because it's different forms that you can forms that you can perform when it does comes to doing the burpees. But if your mobility is there, you're able to get to do the easiest form, and that's able to save you time. You're able to you don't have to worry about coming up on one knee or one leg to the side. You can just pop up, go jump, and do the next burpee broad jump. So that's one thing my key advice, and one thing that I'm taking serious and within my training and working towards. I want to be more mobile, and also the conditioning. Like I'm taking conditioning more serious, especially when it comes to doing compromised running and running fatigue, because that first when you first start, you're energized, you want to go all out. Then when you get to about the middle, like your fourth station or your fourth lap, you start to get fatigued, and that's when that real training kick in. That okay, this is what all I put in work months in advance is after that fourth, because that's when the fatigue it kicks in, and you just want to keep going. You want to keep going. So that's some advice that I can offer. And like Baso said, if you have any questions or want comments, just leave them under the video, and we're sure to follow up with you guys.
So you got perspective on two different age groups, so 28 and 51. So no matter what your age, 28 or 51, like Tyler said, mobility is everything. So if you don't have the mobility, I can easily not have the mobility being 51 years old. So that's no excuse, you know. And I think overall, a lot of people thought like I was when I, you know, doing this competition, like, man, I'm good, I'm strong, I don't need to do all that, you know, I'm good. But sometimes you need a reality check. So HYROX actually did that for me. It gave me a reality check. Like, you're not conditioned like you need to be. I mean, granted, my mobility is good for being 51. My strength is good for being 51. But the conditioning wasn't there. The eating wasn't there. So very humbling. So it took something like that to open my eyes. And sometimes as we get older, especially for me, we get set in our ways and get complacent. We make excuses. Well, I work so much. I work so much. That's no excuse. If you want a healthy, long life, you have to take time for yourself. And I give a lot to my clients, but I don't give enough to myself. So definitely HYROX was an eye opener for myself, because even going into the next race, me and Tyler plan to do another one. I don't want to let him down as well. So I want to make sure that my condition is even better. So the thing about when you do partnerships like this, we want both have weakness and strength. So good thing about being a partner is that I want to be able to, where he struggles at, I'll be able to pick it up, or vice versa. So in order for me to do that, I'm gonna have to pick it up, because there was things throughout our race that I wish my condition would have been better. And I'll give you an example. That wall ball throw, I felt like we was there forever. It took us 7 minutes. And the reason why because of that, it took us so long, because our conditioning. If we'd have been more conditioned, we would have think more clear here. But by the time you get to the eight obstacles, Tyler was throwing over, so it wasn't counting. And that's no excuse, because I should have took over and like, hey, but that was my fault as much as it was his fault, because I wasn't conditioned. If I would have been conditioned, I could have been there and picked up the slack. So don't blame the other person. Always look at, when any situation, look at like, what could I have done to make this better? So going into the next race, I'm gonna definitely be better prepared. So it's not about you do 50, I do 50. So it's 100 wall throws total. But you look at like, when you look at negativity like that, you're gonna be a negative person. I look at that in situations as like, man, if I would have conditioned better, if I would have ate better, man, I could have took over and just finished it. So that's just as much my fault as it is Tyler for his conditioning too. So definitely on this next run, I'm gonna be better conditioned, more intentional with my eating and my cardio. So if you listen to this video and you take from what you would take from it, but definitely you don't want to be so competitive where you bring somebody down. At the end of the day, this HYROX thing, I'm glad it came around to Dallas, because it was an eye opener for me, and it got a lot of us together. We actually had several other uh, friends that participated in it, and after this event, we had another 15 people, 20 people that's reaching out to do more, to do the HYROX themselves. So definitely 2026 HYROX in Dallas. We'll probably have 30 to 40 competitors that is affiliated with us, that with our training and stuff. So I can't wait for November. I'm real anxious for it. Next November can't come fast enough, but in the meantime, I'm gonna continue to work on myself, and I'll let Tyler have final words.
Just to follow up on what Baso's saying, yeah, like more than continue to work on myself, continue to work on conditioning, and like Baso said, the communication and our partnership, it was there. It was just like I take a lot of like looked at it as man, I don't. Next time I know I don't want to let Baso down with the conditioning, so I've been more intentional with my conditioning, eating as well. And it's kind of hard with the holidays right here, but we're doing what we can. So I'm being more intentional with my conditioning, eating, and when we get ready to get close to our next HYROX, I know our communication, our partnership is there, and so that part we didn't have to. We went out there, had fun, even though we didn't finish in the time that we wanted. But I'm very thankful that with Baso, even though like I was catching cramps, he was telling me, "Hey, don't push yourself." Because me being frustrated and competitive, I was like, Baso, no, we gotta go. But my hamstring and my calf wouldn't let me go. Just like as soon as we started running, and it was just like started to like I could feel it locking up, and it was a lot of people out there. Like we seen people stopping, they was massaging their partners' legs, and we didn't have to get that far because Baso was like, okay, ease up on it. Like it was the communication that really helped me. Like we was like, oh, let's run around this corner, walk to get some of that pressure off your hamstring. Then run around this corner, then we're gonna walk. So it was just that easy communication. So I say, like, if you're doing doubles, either that doubles mix, just communicate with your partner, like letting them know how you feel within the competition, or if everything is starting to bother you, let them know, and y'all can come up with a plan. Like it's all about like communicating, because if I didn't let Baso know about my hamstring and my calf muscle, he would have been like, okay, we need to push, and then we could have taken ourselves out of the race by like it could have completely like locked up or injured myself. But I communicated that with Baso. We deviated from our original plan and came up with a new plan, and it's just all about I say communicating, and that's all I have for as far as like wrapping up with tips. And I say, hey, good luck on your HYROX journey, and welcome to the HYROX team.
All right. Thank y'all for tuning in. Just in case y'all want to know what we're doing, we are planning to do the Miami in April, and we may even do a relay in March, but we'll see. I don't want to push it that well. I want to make sure that I do this next competition that I'm dialed in, and I don't want to go into it like I did this past one and being ignorant, and I don't want to do that. So definitely allow yourself time to condition. It's not a 1 month, 2 month thing. Listen to your body. If it takes 8 months, it takes 8 months, but listen to your body. Definitely when it comes around to Dallas again, we're going to be really prepared next time. And then also, the more experience we get, the more we can help y'all on your journey to whatever it may be. And if HYROX is something you want to do, feel free, reach out. We have Instagram, we have TikTok, and we have YouTube. So reach out. We're not here. We're not gatekeepers. We'll give you any information that we know. The key to us is building a community around us and living a long life, healthy life. And we can't do that if we're gatekeeping information. So if you have questions, you have impingements, reach out to us. We'll tell you. We had impingements during HYROX. We worked it out. So did my other clients. They had impingements, knees, Achilles. We all had issues, shoulders. So guess what? We worked on it. And every one of us got through the race without no injury. That's the key. Don't focus on time and compromise your body to get a good time. That time will come, but be patient. This ain't gonna be the first, and it ain't gonna be the last HYROX, so be patient. Just keep improving on yourself and enjoy yourself. Definitely that camaraderie with my clients, with my friends. It was a big turnout as far as support, and that meant a lot to me. Be able to walk around, you see people cheering for you, and we had people that wasn't cheering, that didn't know us cheering for us. So it was definitely an experience, and if you want that experience, I would advise doing it. And if you can't get a perfect time, don't worry about the time. Just get out there and get the experience, and just to say you completed it, and don't rush it.
I just second that what Baso said. That's all I have.
All right. Thank y'all again. Have a good night.